When we talk about powerful economies, China always comes up. Even today, with all the challenges the world is facing, China's economy keeps growing. And the question is, how? How is China still moving forward when so many others are struggling or slowing down? Let's dive deep into the real story. First, let's remember something important. China didn't just wake up one day and become the second largest economy in the world. It's been a long journey of planning, hard work, and big changes. Since the late 1970s, when China opened up its markets to the world under Deng Xiaoping's leadership, the country has followed a clear formula. Invest heavily in infrastructure, open doors to foreign businesses, build manufacturing power, and gradually develop its own brands and technologies. Fast forward to today, China's economy is not just about cheap labor and factories anymore. It has evolved into a major player in advanced industries, like electric vehicles, green energy, artificial intelligence, and high-speed rail. In fact, China produces more electric cars than any other country. Companies like BYD and NIO are becoming global names, and they're not just copying anymore. They are innovating. But that's not all. China's government plays a massive role in shaping the economy. It's what economists call a state-led capitalist system. This means while there is room for private companies, the government still guides the major industries and sets national priorities. When challenges hit, like the 2008 financial crisis or even the COVID-19 pandemic, China responded with big stimulus packages, building new cities, new roads, new airports. This kept millions employed and kept the economy moving when many others stalled. Recently, some thought China's growth would crash because of issues like a slowing real estate market, debt problems in companies like Evergrande, or tensions with the United States. It's true. These are real problems. But what many people don't see is how China adapts. For example, when real estate started dragging growth down, China didn't just stand by. It started pushing for a stronger technology sector, stronger exports, and more domestic consumption. You might hear experts talk about dual circulation. What it means is simple. China wants to keep selling goods to the world, but it also wants its own people to buy more, so it's not so dependent on exports. This is a huge shift, and it's already showing results. Look at the numbers. In 2023, despite global slowdowns, China's economy still grew by around 5%. That might seem lower compared to the double-digit growth of the early 2000s, but for an $18 trillion economy, 5% is massive. It means China added almost an entire medium-sized economy like the size of Spain in just 1 year. And there's another important reason China keeps growing: urbanization. Even today, millions of people are moving from rural areas to cities every year. Every person who moves into a city tends to earn more, spend more, and live a more modern life. That's fresh energy for the economy. China is expected to reach 70% urbanization by 2035. That's hundreds of millions of people fueling new businesses, services, and industries. Also, China's middle class keeps expanding. Right now, there are over 400 million middle-class consumers in China. They're buying cars, homes, insurance, luxury goods, and they're traveling. This rising consumer power means China is not just a producer for the world anymore. It's also a giant market that companies all over the world want to tap into. And let's not forget technology. China's investments in research and development are now second only to the United States. In fields like AI, 5G, and green energy, China is a global leader. If you visit cities like Shenzhen, you'll see what looks like the future: driverless taxis, cashless payments everywhere, delivery robots. These are not pilot projects, they're part of daily life for millions. Trade is another key piece. China is deeply connected to countries around the world through trade deals and massive projects like the Belt and Road Initiative. Through this program, China has invested billions of dollars into infrastructure projects in Asia, Africa, and Europe. Railroads, ports, highways, all linking trade routes back to China. This not only opens markets for Chinese companies, but also builds strong economic ties that benefit China for the long term. But it's not just about big projects. China is smart about setting up free trade zones, signing regional agreements like RCEP, the world's largest trade deal, and promoting its currency, the yuan, for international use. Slowly, China is carving a bigger role for itself in the global financial system. Still, it's not all smooth sailing. China faces serious challenges: a shrinking workforce due to low birth rates, an aging population, local government debts, and tensions with countries like the US over technology and trade. The real estate slowdown, in particular, has been a heavy drag because so much Chinese wealth is tied to property. Plus, the world is changing. Supply chains are moving, and some companies are shifting production to places like Vietnam and India. Yet, even with these headwinds, China's economy shows resilience. Part of it is the government's ability to control levers quickly, adjusting interest rates, offering subsidies, tightening or loosening policies depending on the situation. Another part is the sheer size and diversity of China's economy. It's not relying on just one engine. If one sector slows down, others pick up. And there's a cultural factor, too. The Chinese people have an incredible drive for progress. Education is deeply valued. Saving is a habit. Entrepreneurship is booming. Every day, thousands of new businesses are registered across the country. There's a hunger to succeed, to innovate, and to secure a better future. That energy feeds into the economy in ways that are hard to measure but very real. Now it's true that as China grows wealthier, the growth rate will naturally slow down. No country can grow at 10% forever. Economies mature. What matters is the quality of growth, and China knows it. That's why today's focus is on high-quality development, better technology, cleaner energy, smarter cities, and a more balanced economy. For example, China is aiming to be carbon neutral by 2060. That sounds far away, but the work has already begun. China leads the world in solar panel production, wind power installations, and electric car adoption. Building a green economy creates new industries, new jobs, and new opportunities, and positions China as a leader in the next global economic wave. Healthcare is another area of massive growth. As the population ages, there's rising demand for better hospitals, pharmaceuticals, and elder care services. In fact, the health and wellness industry in China is expected to be worth trillions of dollars in the coming decades. This shift creates room for innovation, startups, and big corporations alike. So when people ask, is China's economy collapsing? Or will China's miracle end? They often miss the bigger picture. Growth is slowing compared to the past, yes, but it's becoming smarter, deeper, and more sustainable. And don't underestimate the sheer size of China's influence. It's now the largest trading partner for over 120 countries. When China grows, it pulls the global economy along with it. Even when the West faces recessions or slowdowns, China's momentum helps balance global demand. Of course, the future isn't guaranteed. China needs reforms in pensions, healthcare, and business regulation. It needs to support innovation while giving more breathing room to private companies. It needs to manage its debt and navigate its complex relationship with the world. But so far, history shows that China has been able to adapt to major challenges again and again. As we move into a new decade, the world will continue watching China. Some will doubt, some will compete, some will collaborate. But no one can ignore the fact: China's economy remains one of the most important engines of global growth. And it's not just about numbers. It's about the ambition of 1.4 billion people to keep moving forward, to build better lives, better cities, and a stronger future. That's a force you simply can't dismiss. If you want to understand the future of the world economy, you have to understand why China's economy is still growing strong and why it's likely to remain a major force for years to come.